First contact. The council chamber smelled of fey. Every species present, antlered, scaled, feathered, shifted nervously in their seats as the newsfeeds repeated the same unthinkable headline. Predators reach the stars. I kept my frill pressed flat against my skull, the instinctive posture of submission. My people had fled predators since before fire. The thought of an apex hunter building cities, ships, and weapons powerful enough to cross the void, it was against everything we knew of survival. Ambassador Kylek, the High Speaker rasped, his voice trembling, "You will meet them." The chamber erupted in disbelief, assigning me, of all envoys, to make contact with predators. My chest tightened until I could barely breathe. But the speaker continued. "You have studied behavioral xenology. You will determine whether these humans are civilized or a threat that must be destroyed." No one said if, only when. Underscore 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 underscore. The human vessel loomed outside the orbital station like some slumbering beast, its dark hull patterned with scars of heat and battle. I expected spikes, barbs, cruel displays of dominance. Instead, its form was sleek, symmetrical, almost elegant. When the docking clamps engaged, my claws dug into the armrest. My instinct screamed at me to flee before the predators came aboard. Then the doors hissed open. They walked on two legs, forward-facing eyes scanning the chamber. Their teeth, gods, the teeth, flashed as they bade them in some alien gesture. I recoiled, but their voices were soft, warm, not the growl of hunters. One stepped forward, a female draped in dark fabric. "Ambassador Kylek, we are honored to meet you." Her eyes locked on mine. Predatory, piercing. Yet, there was no hunger in them, only curiosity. I forced my throat to work. I am here to evaluate your species. To determine what you are. She smiled again, teeth bright. My tail curled tight in fear. And yet, instead of pouncing, she extended a hand, open, unarmed. I had studied ancient holos of predator strikes, the way claws flashed, jaws snapped. But this hand was still, waiting. An offer, not a threat. With shaking limbs, I touched it. Her grip was firm, warm, alive. A shiver ran through me, but not entirely of terror. The predator's smile. The human vessel hummed with steady life as I followed my escort deeper into its corridors. My claws scraped against the deck plating, each step a war against the instinct to bolt. The female commander, her name was Elena, walked beside me, explaining their ship's functions. Her tone was calm, almost casual, but I could not escape the way her eyes tracked everything. Always alert, always aware. The gaze of a predator. "Your people must think us frightening," she said suddenly. The breath caught in my throat. "You bare teeth to show joy. You stalk the corridor with silence. Every feature you possess screams of danger. What else could we think?" She gave that tooth-bearing gesture again, a smile. She had called it. Danger doesn't always mean harm, Ambassador. Sometimes it means protection. Her words rattled me more than threats would have. Later, I observed the humans during a shared meal. My stomach turned at the scent of cooked flesh, but I forced myself to stay. They spoke loudly, overlapping, laughing. Their sharp teeth flashed constantly, but the room carried no menace. A small crisis erupted when a crewman cut his hand on a shard of glass. The smell of blood filled the chamber. My frill flared in panic. Predators, sensing blood, should descend in a frenzy. Instead, they all leapt to their feet with concern. Elena pressed cloth against the wound while another fetched a medical kit. They surrounded the injured one not as hunters, but as guardians. Not a single human tried to claim the blood. "You rushed to help," I whispered, unable to stop myself. "You ignored the instinct to strike." Elena looked at me as though the thought had never occurred to her. "Instinct? No, that's not instinct. That's family. That's what we do for each other." Family. The word twisted in my mind. Predators caring for their wounded. It was an impossibility, and yet I had just seen it. When the meal ended, I lingered with a younger human who carried a small device projecting images. Animals, some with teeth as fearsome as theirs, appeared in glowing light. Wolves running in packs, dolphins leaping from oceans, birds soaring together. "These are our friends," he said proudly. "Some hunt with us, some live beside us. We don't just kill, we bond." "You bond with predators?" I stammered. He chuckled. "We are predators, but we are also something more. Our strength comes from empathy. A wolf alone starves. A wolf pack thrives. Same with us. Empathy." I had studied the concept, but never imagined it belonging to hunters. As I returned to my quarters, the images would not leave me. Humans rushing to save their bleeding comrade, hands steady and urgent. Humans laughing, teeth bared not in threat but in joy. Humans speaking of bonds instead of conquests. Predators, yes, unquestionably, but predators with compassion. And that, I realized, was far more terrifying than I had feared. Breaking the fey. The council chamber was louder than I had ever heard it. Voices clashed, overlapping shrieks and growls, each delegate struggling to be heard above the others. "Extermination," barked the Arxa representative, slamming a scaled fist against the table. "Do you fools not see? They are predators. History proves predators consume until nothing remains." "Containment," wailed the feathered realm. "Quarantine their world before their disease spreads across the stars." Every argument spiraled back to the same conclusion. Humans were dangerous because they were predators. No one spoke of their art, their care for each other, their empathy. No one but me. I rose, my frill trembling. "I have seen them. I have spoken with them. They are not what we imagine. They—" A dozen voices cut me down. "You are deceived. The predators toy with your mind. They will gut you the moment you turn your back." The chamber dissolved into chaos. After the session, I found Elena waiting in the docking ring. Her stance was calm, but her eyes, those terrible forward-facing eyes, betrayed a weary sadness. "They hate us," she said quietly. "We expected that." I flinched. She had overheard everything. "You must understand," I murmured. "They fear what you are. To them, predators cannot be trusted. It is written in every instinct, every story we have ever told ourselves." Elena nodded slowly. "Fear is natural. We live with it too. We fear storms, famine, disease. But fear isn't the end of the story. It's the beginning of courage." Her words settled over me like a weight. Courage. My people had always believed courage meant fleeing faster than your rival. To a predator, courage meant something else. The next rotation, crisis struck. A freighter convoy on the rim was attacked by raiders. Distress signals flooded the network. The council debated endlessly, unwilling to risk their fleets against armed predators. Too dangerous, too costly. Humans did not wait. Within hours, Elena's ship detached from the station, engines burning hot. I watched from the viewport, my chest tight. They had no treaty, no assurance of safety. Yet they went anyway. Why? Why would predators risk themselves for strangers who spat at them? Reports streamed in. The human vessel intercepted the raiders. Outnumbered, outgunned, yet they pressed the attack. Not to seize territory, not to plunder, but to defend. Images surfaced. Human marines pulling terrified prey children from burning corridors. Engineers patching alien life support systems with their own tools. Elena herself carrying an injured Riln across the wreckage. The galaxy gaped in disbelief. The council could only sputter. Why would predators sacrifice themselves for others? What gain is there? I knew the answer, though my frill quivered as I spoke it aloud. Because that is their nature. That night I lay awake, staring at the ceiling. My instinct still screamed at me to run, but my reason whispered something different. Perhaps the galaxy had misunderstood predators. Perhaps it was not their hunger that made them dangerous, but their compassion. And perhaps, for the first time, that danger was exactly what we needed. Redefining predators. The council reconvened in uneasy silence. For once, no one shouted. No one jeered. The images of the human rescue hung in the chamber air like ghosts, predators shielding prey with their own bodies, bleeding yet unyielding. I stood at the center, my claws folded tight against my chest, every eye fixed on me, some with suspicion, others with doubt, but a few with something new, curiosity. "You have seen the recordings," I began. My voice quavered, but I pressed on. "These humans faced death to save those who spat upon them. They fought raiders not for conquest, but for strangers. Is this the behavior of monsters?" A murmur swept through the chamber. The Arksa delegate hissed, "It is deception. They earn trust to strike later." I turned, fixing my frill upright in defiance. "Then tell me, why do they not let the raiders slaughter us? Why risk their own lives for no gain? Even predators do not bleed for their meals." Silence. The humans were invited into the chamber at last. Elena led them, her expression steady but solemn. 1,000 prey eyes followed her every step. She did not bow, did not snarl. She simply stood, hands clasped behind her back, and waited. "I will not waste words," she said. Her voice carried across the chamber like a blade's edge. "You fear us. We understand that. But know this, we are predators, yes. We kill to eat, to defend, to survive. But more than that, we protect. We build. We choose compassion, even when it costs us. That is what makes us human." Her gaze swept the hall, meeting every trembling delegate head-on. "If that frightens you, so be it. But ask yourselves, what kind of galaxy do you want? One where you cower, or one where predators stand between you and the dark?" The chamber held its breath. For the first time in my life, I felt the pulse of something other than fear when a predator spoke. It was not hunger, not menace. It was hope. The realm delegate, feathers bristling, spoke in a whisper. "Perhaps predators can be guardians." Others muttered agreement. Doubt still lingered, but the ice had cracked. The unthinkable had become possible. Later, as the humans prepared to depart, I walked with Elena to the docking bay. "You have changed everything," I told her. She gave that terrible smile again, but this time I did not recoil. "No, Ambassador, you changed it by choosing to see us." I considered that. She was right. Fear was instinct, but trust was choice. And choice was the foundation of civilization. As their ship detached and vanished into the void, I whispered words that would reshape our history.